Carrie, who is a mixed media artist who uses found, scavenged, and discarded materials in her artwork. Sometimes ideas come first for Carrie, in which case she scours her supplies to try to bring her concept to life. Other times, the physical objects and materials inform the work and give Carrie her ideas. Typically, she's working on at least 2 bodies of work, which she alternates time and attention between. And she is also a junior high art teacher, which often feels like an entirely separate creative body of work. And that makes a whole lot of sense. Carrie, I see you're here. Yay, there, your video is working. This is awesome. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much. And actually, I just had to switch to my phone because I saw that the bandwidth at Verge is low. So I'm not as competent with Zoom on my phone, but I'll do my best.
Hey, no worries. You're here. It's working fine. Thanks for checking out the bandwidth situation and seeing. You and Aaron are actually both at Verge, broadcasting from Verge. So sometimes there are bandwidth issues. This is what happens with a live viewing like this. You never know, right? It's
That's
exciting.
Right. We'll see how the iPhone does. Cross my fingers.
Pretty well, knocking on wood. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Kate, for being here and interviewing me. And I also just want to thank Verge in general, Liv and Ariana and Justina and everybody who's been behind the scenes. It's been really hard to find the bandwidth to put time into this because I've been so busy with transitioning to distance learning as a junior high school art teacher. And so I feel sort of unprepared and nervous, but I also feel really grateful for the opportunity and hopeful that actually this might be quite an interesting way to engage. So thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone at Verge is doing an amazing job and has really turned the ship around to go virtual, which is kind of fun. So Carrie, can you read me your sign in the background?
Oh, it says the Carrie Ziser Show. And this is because I am so uncomfortable, honestly, with this format. It is so, like, I can turn it on for my junior high school students and it sort of is the Carrie Ziser Show in my classroom. But yesterday when I came into the studio, Iana, my studio mate next door, I said something like, what am I gonna do on live stream? I just have to talk for 3 hours. And I said, it's just gonna be the Carrie Ziser Show. And she said, make a sign, Carrie. So of course I spent my precious time yesterday making a sign instead of like getting my lighting right and getting my tech just right. But anyway, it's a prop.
I think the sign was very worth it. I happen to really love the sign. I saw that you had it on Instagram earlier and I thought, that's amazing. We should all have signs.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have like 500 cut out little letters out of paper, or out of fabric ready to go. Then you can make things like this in an hour.
I love that you already had the fabric letters cut out. Now, did you hand cut those out? Did you find them somewhere? Because I know you do a lot of sourcing of your materials from all over, right?
So these are all hand cut, and I literally have probably 300 letters already cut out, and a lot of this it was for different projects in the past. And then you know, I find that a lot of my work, so I think it's really important for myself as an artist to identify I'm a mom, and my kids are now entering young adulthood, late teens. But a lot of my path as an artist, like I feel like I took a dozen years off in my life to raise my kids and do other kinds of making, other kinds of creative work. But I was limited with my kids. I just never really found big chunks of time to go into a studio and make things. And so a lot of my early work getting back into making art was piecework, was taking things with me. So no matter where we are going, I was the mom, you know, had a bin of things that I was cutting, or small little things, small projects that I could work on a little bit here and there. And so those letters, that was for a different project altogether. But that idea of like having small things that I can take with me to a 7-hour track meet and, you know, cut out, or in the car on the way somewhere. I always have things with me because I often only have small bits of time to work. That's why I have like 300 cutout letters. I think I cut out a couple to change the colors because the colors, you know, they have to work. But anyway,
right.
Yeah. So that's how I did that quickly.
So that's part of your process, right? Do you feel like, I know your kids are getting a little bit older now. Do you feel like you're still working in that process, or do you feel like you're migrating away from that, working in smaller chunks and to-go travel boxes of art making?
Yeah, no, it's changing a lot. Like it's changing so much. I can find huge chunks of time now in comparison to what I had in the past. Sorry, I have something showing up on my phone and I like can't see you anymore.
Notifications swiping
Uh,
it, yeah.
no, I get hours of time now to work. And so my work is getting a little bit larger, a little bit more unwieldy and big and impossible to store. But it's lovely because I am finding more chunks of time. Yes, it's evolved so much. And I am always looking for inspiration from other people who are parents who are trying to balance both. Yeah, so.
Yeah. So I would love to hear a little bit about your current body of work. I've seen some of the things you've posted and I'm super excited to know more about it. And I
Okay,
see
so
something in the background there that looks like a current recent piece.
which one? The big green thing?
The big green
Or what?
thing with a little camo. I see some
Yeah,
camo there. Did I see
yeah,
that recently?
I would love to talk about that. So I know I have limited time. So I don't know. I have a hard time, obviously, like a lot of artists talking about what they're doing. And what I had you say in the beginning about sometimes getting an idea and then searching to see what materials might help me make that visual idea come to life. And other times it's because I see materials and then I start to get ideas. This project, so I was making these big soft plush sculptures and playing around with kind of like turning an inflatable into something soft. The only thing that I can keep consistently noticing in my work is that I'm very interested in texture and the way things feel. I really can't believe how what you touch with your hands, how it can impact the way you're feeling. So I find myself gravitating towards things that are comforting and soft and squishy, but also texturally fascinating. It's a conundrum though, because fine art, you're not supposed to be able to touch it. And I want to make things that people can touch or that they want to touch or that their eyes make them feel like they know what it feels like without touching it. Anyway, I didn't know that I would go in this direction, but I'm enjoying making big soft things. And I was thinking of landscapes, and Greta Thunberg was in the news doing her amazing work that she's doing, speaking out. And I was wanting to make some kind of soft plush green landscape made out of plush things. And I went to a thrift store and I was noticing lots of green pants for children. So throwing away things that people don't want anymore necessarily, that have an opportunity for new life. They're cheap for me to purchase and buy. And so I started to think about buying a lot of pant legs. And I had a big soft velour pant from my own collection that I was ready to discard or had a stain. And so I just decided to collect these things over a period of time. It took a lot of time. And I started making and stuffing. This is really big and it just fell off of its stand, but started to create this big long snake of legs, and then had this delightful time of bending and maneuvering it into shape. And I was trying to understand, like, what is this piece about? Like, is this just me playing again and making something that is not really gonna go anywhere? It's just me like, I have an idea and I'm gonna make it. And I'm so lucky I can make it because I have a studio and I feel so lucky to have time to do this. And then as I was bending it and twisting it, and in the middle of my first year teaching junior high art, I started to realize that this piece is as much about I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot about adolescence in here. There's a lot about being a 7th, 8th, or a 9th grader. And young people are so worried about our environment, and my kids are as well, and they're alarmed and startled in a way that I don't remember feeling as a kid. So this piece is a lot of things. I mean, it's just a big, enormous blob. It looks like you could play with it. It's very heavy, and you could play with it, but it's not that stable. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else really to say about it besides I just feel so fortunate to be able to get ideas in my head and then have the space and the time and the impetus to play with it until I make it. And I really wanted to show this one. I wanted to, it's just so wacky and weird, and it's so stained and so imperfect, and there's pockets popping out, and it's ridiculous. I was really looking forward to showing it with really admire who makes teeny tiny little things out of recycled repurposed materials, Lydia Ritchie out of Philadelphia. She was going to send, or she did, she sent a piece, and I was going to show it at the Artist and Friends show at Art Verge next to this big monstrosity. Because I see a similarity in our work, even though it's really different. I see, when I hear her speak about the way she works and the way she looks at materials and textures, it really spoke to me. And I loved the idea of juxtaposing my piece with her, someone who I really admire. So I don't know what will happen to this, but it's soft and squishy and I can play with it. And I don't know if it'll ever get shown, but I'm happy to show it here and I'm happy to talk about it.
Well,
Any
it's
questions?
exciting.
Yeah,
Well,
my
it's
time,
exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting to see this larger piece and you working in this direction. I have to say, like, some of your descriptions of this are always very catching to my ear. And, you know, you called it, you talked about big soft things, pant legs, snake of legs. You know, some of these phrases are really, I know they're very descriptive, but they're also really interesting juxtapositions of words. And I see that you've spent many hours cutting out letters to create words for other projects. So do you think words and language impact what you're doing in a big way or a minor way? Is that just happenstance or?
It's really interesting that you asked that. I'm married to an English professor and words and language are actually not my way of communicating. And I often have my family just like, what are you trying to say with your word? Like, what are you saying? Because I just don't feel like I have a gift with, with language. But what I love about language and words is I love the way they create negative space. And I love the shape of letters and numbers. And I often think I'm like stuck in arrested development in my childhood. But as a teacher, I loved writing pads and letters and the performance of school. And I did well in school and I liked it. I never thought I'd really be a teacher. That wasn't my dream job. But I love the way these things look visually. I'm totally interested in language and the way things look on the page. So it's a little weird. I mean, it's not like I'm a writer at all, but I'm fascinated by letters and words. And yeah, so that's what I think is going on for me. There is an artist in Sacramento, Nathan Cordero, who passed away a couple of years ago. And I just loved his work, partially for what it said, because it made me think, but partially because of the way it made you look at something so familiar, so common, and take it in a whole different way. And I think that's what I'm interested in with materials too, is something that, you know, like this is like, it's fake grass, but it's not, when fake grass shouldn't be like that. You know, you don't see fake grass as a squishy thing. It's very uncomfortable and itchy actually. But I love the idea of taking things that are common, that we're used to, that are even garbage, that have no value, and playing with them enough and finding a way for them to have new value, at least to me. And it might even convey something, but you may or may not understand it. You may or may not like it, but at least I get to have this engagement. So
yeah, there's a great drama of the ordinary that happens in your work. And things are re-energized in a really fun and fascinating way. And the things that you juxtapose are a lot of fun. I enjoy your work tons, and I think everybody here, if you haven't seen Carrie's work, I encourage you to check out her Instagram feed. Carrie, what's your handle on Instagram?
So it's Ziser.
Ziser on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah.
And you plan to go live later today, but not tomorrow. Is that correct?
Right. I am neighbors with another person who will be live at the same time. So we split our days. I'm today and she's tomorrow. So I'm grateful for it. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I mean, I know I can talk for 3 hours straight, but I need the back and forth. Like, I love to have the conversation. So it's really nice to be able to like see you. We'll see what I do on the Carrie Ziser show.
The Carrie Ziser show. Can you? I think you might need a theme song.
I forgot all my costumes. I have like special gear for my students and I forgot them. So I'm so sorry. I know.
Another time, another virtual open studio, Carrie.
I have like 20 minutes to make something.
You got 20 minutes. You can do it. You've got those letters. Thank you so much for being on the Open Studio Tour again this year, Carrie. Your work is great and it's always fun to chat with you and to connect with you. And if people are interested in your work, can they just DM you, or
Absolutely. And if you even just want to have a conversation or chat, I'm always interested. And I don't know, I don't know exactly who's watching, but I do feel like our community is watching each other, and that feels really lovely because there are a lot of people I'd still love to get to know.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Carrie. Have a great weekend, and
thank you.
Have some fun today.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Kate. Bye-bye.
Bye.